Hello, welcome to the Lonely Show. I'm your host, John Maloney. In this episode, I don't have any regulars because they're doing whatever, and yeah, we all have lives to attend to. But anyway, as for our guest, she's from San Diego, and she's a licensed clinical psychologist. And ladies and gentlemen, I give you Dr. Candice.
Hi there. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. So, how's life?
Life is wonderful. I mean, it's a beautiful Friday morning here in San Diego. I'm looking forward to a wonderful weekend ahead. Hopefully the good weather continues. We've had a little bit of a cold spout here, which is, I know, not much to complain about when you live in San Diego. But yeah, looking forward to a nice weekend.
Great. And have you been up to much recently?
I'm sorry?
Have you been up to much recently?
I've been, up to a lot of work, if that counts. If that counts.
It's something, yeah.
Yeah, I've launched a few new programs recently that I've been, putting a lot of time and effort into. So that has been kind of the bulk of my focus the last few months. I'm doing some speaking engagements coming up that I've been putting a lot of time and effort into preparing for. So I guess that's kind of what I've been up to.
Great. Great. So tell me more about what you do and how you go on about your job.
All right. Well, I am, as you mentioned, first and foremost, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I work, both one-on-one, in person via video with individuals. I also work, with people a little less directly through some of my online programs. But primarily I work with a lot of the chronic yo-yo dieting population, the people who have been on and off a diet for years, gaining and losing the same 15, 20 pounds or however many stones that is, for years, and are just frustrated and want something different. And I help them address it in a non-diet way where we look at behavior, we look at lifestyle, we look at our thoughts and how our thoughts are kind of standing in our way, how we may be self-sabotaging. And I help them sort of carve a new path to not just weight management, but a healthier relationship with food, a healthier relationship with their body, and overall more confidence and security moving forward.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And when you do have patients come to you, what is the most common thing that your patients say to you?
That I am sick of dieting and I don't know what else to do. I hear that from just about everyone. And when you think about it, it makes total sense, because if you want to lose weight or, you want to maintain weight loss, what do? You go on a diet. It's the only thing we're ever taught, and it's all we know how to do. And so most of the people I've worked with, that's what they've done, but they've done it again and again and again. And they are just so frustrated because even if it works, it only works short term, and they always end up gaining the weight back. But again, what else are you going to do? Nobody knows what else to do because nobody really talks about it. Nobody addresses it. The answer is just dieting as far as society is concerned, right?
Yeah. So what do you like about being a psychologist?
It sounds so cliche, but I love the fact that my job is helping people. I love the fact that when people come to me initially, they are, feeling crappy, they're stressed out, they're overwhelmed, their confidence is low, they're insecure, they're uncertain. And through the process of our work together, all that sort of switches to where they get to a place where they feel calm, they feel confident, they feel secure, they feel capable, they feel happy, they feel present-minded, they feel connected. And, being able to, not just hold their hand through that journey, but being able to just witness that journey and see, what people are capable of, especially when they don't realize it. It's just, it's very motivating for me. It's very empowering for me. And it just makes me feel wonderful. So I love it.
Great. And as a psychologist, what have been the high and low points?
Well, I mean, the high points definitely come repeatedly, right? With almost every client I work with, they come as I see them progress, as I see them succeed. But I've also had some high points when my books were released, and there was so much anxiety when you put something out there like that, and you put so much time and effort into writing a book and releasing it, and you never really know how people are going to respond to it. And I think a high point for me, or multiple high points for me, were when I released my books, and the immense amount of positive feedback I received, mostly from strangers. Obviously you receive feedback from people that are close to you, but getting emails from strangers telling me that they read my book and what a difference it's made, or that they had found so much benefit from it that they shared it with others. I had a woman in Georgia who emailed me to tell me that she found so much benefit from my book that she brought it to her book club and had everyone in her book club go through the program and the workbook, and how everyone was raving about it. It just made me feel so great to know that the thing I put all this effort into was so well received and so appreciated.
Okay, great. And when you do work, do you do it mostly in person, or do you do some of your work remotely as well?
Yeah, so before COVID, I was kind of half and half, where some of it was via video and some of it was in person, because I do work with people kind of all over the place. But since COVID, it's been all video. So we meet via an online video platform and just do our sessions that way. And it's interesting because even the people that are local are so happy to do it that way, because it is just so much more convenient. They don't have to worry about traffic or parking, or timeliness, and all the time it takes to get to and from. And so they can schedule it in a way that's more convenient for them. So everyone seems to prefer it this way. So I'm kind of staying with this for a while, so we'll see how long that goes.
Yeah, it's actually, yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, it's better to do things remotely because
Yeah.
no matter where you are, you have the person right there on your phone or your device. It's so
Yeah,
convenient.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is amazing what you can do with technology these days.
Oh yes, absolutely. So, was this something you wanted to do from the beginning, or have you thought about wanting to do other jobs when you were younger?
Oh gosh, I have a million in my head that I've always wanted to do. I always joke that I still have several careers ahead of me that are completely different from what I'm doing right now. I love event planning, and I've always done it for myself. I love to plan big events, and I've done it for friends. Planned their weddings or their big events. And so I always joke that at some point when I retire, I'm going to become an event planner on the side, even though I'm kind of already doing that, just without the income potential from it. But that's something I love doing, and I've always thought I could easily make a career out of.
Oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
So, do you ever travel from time to time?
I do. It is one of my absolute favorite things to do. Obviously, I did a lot more of it before. And we actually live part time in Hawaii, so we go back and forth between San Diego and Hawaii quite a bit. But now that the world is, opening up a lot more, I'm hoping that I can get back to some more meaningful travel where I'm exploring other countries, other cultures, having all sorts of other experiences that I've been missing out on the last few years. So I'm excited at the potential of getting back to that.
Hmm, okay, great. Is there any countries that you haven't been to but you want to go to?
Oh gosh, how much time do we have? I have a list.
We have
I
all the time in the world. Go right ahead.
I have, as far as South America goes, I want to go basically everywhere there. The only country I've been to in South America is Colombia, and I absolutely loved it. It was beautiful, and such a unique experience. And I would like to visit just about everywhere else on that continent. I also feel like I have a ton more of Europe to experience. I really want to see Austria. I really want to experience The bulk of northern Italy that I haven't gone to, southern Spain that I haven't experienced. Japan is someplace I haven't been that I really want to go to at some point. Gosh, the list just goes on and on. I also feel like there are a bunch of countries that I've been to that I want to go back to and experience either longer or, spend time in different parts of the country, different parts of France, different parts of Greece, different parts of Croatia. So there's a lot. I feel like there's not enough time for me to get to all of these places.
Yeah, it can be stressful at times and very exhausting.
Yeah,
Hey,
absolutely.
but once you get there and you embrace the atmosphere and the environment, it's all worth it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so looking forward to getting back to that.
Oh yes. So, what do you have planned for yourself this week?
Well, this weekend I'm actually traveling to a conference where I'm going to be presenting some different topics around eating, stress eating, self-sabotage, a bunch of different things. So I'm excited about that. Actually, it's up in San Francisco area, and it's the first time going back to in-person presentations and seminars. So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that and being able to present to a group in front of me, whereas the past few years I've been presenting via Zoom, which is not quite as fun for me. I love the interaction and the dialogue and the back and forth that you get when you do it in person. So that's what I'm doing this weekend, going back to presenting in person, which I'm excited about.
Great, great. So, what do you like about where you live right now?
Well, I live in San Diego and I live downtown. And what I love about it is that it's an urban area, which I really like being in. So there's lots of life. There's lots of, hustle and bustle that comes from living in an urban area. But it's a very small city, right? Comparatively speaking, when you look at San Diego compared to a city like New York or Chicago, it's a very small city. So it's a very manageable city. But also you're 10 minutes from the ocean, you're 10 minutes from the bay, you're 10 minutes from the suburbs, right? So you have all of this around you that you can access while also being smack in the middle of an urban area. So I really love that feel. And the vibe in San Diego is very laid back for being a city. And it's the cliche of being surf culture and all of that, but it's a nice hybrid of kind of the relaxed feel of a beach town with the hustle and bustle of a city. So I really like that.
Great. Is there any bad habits that you want to get rid of?
That's a good question. My bad habit that I actually have recently gotten rid of was I was a nail biter pretty much my whole life. You'd always catch me, with my nail in my mouth and chewing them off, and my nails were super, super short and stubby, and just not a pleasant habit. And I've recently kicked that one, so I'm very, very excited about that. I think that was probably my worst one, so I'm happy to say that that's no longer with me.
Great. Progress at its finest. Love to see it. So if your life was a meal, what would it be?
Was a meal?
Yeah, if your life was a meal, what would it look like, and what would it be? What would be included?
Oh gosh, that's a really interesting question. I think I want to say it would be a buffet, so that you could take a little bit of everything and kind of pick and choose what you want, and maybe spend a little bit more time in one place on your second course than on your first course, and try a lot of things on. I feel like in my life I have, quote unquote, tried a lot of things on, and tested things out in certain ways, and found there are some things that are better fits than others, some things that I like more than others. So I've been able to kind of do a bit of sampling. So I guess I'll say it would be a buffet.
Okay. Interesting choice. I like that. So, if you could switch lives with someone, who would it be and why?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know that I have an answer for that.
It could be anyone.
I don't think it would be a celebrity or anybody in the public eye, because I don't know that I'd want, all of the scrutiny and, privacy issues that come with that. So it wouldn't be anybody like that. Don't know. I'm not sure. I wonder what other people have answered for that question.
Yeah. I mean, there's many different lives that could be interesting to someone's perspective, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, without knowing anyone in particular, somebody who's made a lifestyle out of traveling. Whether it be somebody who has a business or a job based on travel, I think that would be a really interesting lifestyle experience, to just always be on the go and always have an opportunity to, like I mentioned before when I was talking about traveling, just experience all of these other cultures and have all of these other life experiences. I think that would be a really unique opportunity that I would like.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah. So, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh, well, I've always said that my ideal living situation would be a hybrid between, or I don't know, a triad between San Diego, Hawaii, and Spain, or somewhere nearby, Spain or France. And right now, I'm two of those three, San Diego and Hawaii. Although I will throw in, I am originally from New York, and New York City is certainly my favorite place in the world. So I've also added to that if I were a gazillionaire, I would also live in New York City, because it's just such an insanely expensive place to live. But I would love to live there as well.
Yeah, great. What's your favorite season?
I mean, you can probably tell from the places I live that I do not like cold. I keep moving to warmer and warmer climates. So I am definitely a spring and summer girl. I don't like when it gets cold, and I don't like when it is cold. So I try and avoid winter as much as possible. So I'm definitely spring and summer.
Yeah, those are very good seasons. So, what's the best way to start the morning?
I like to start the morning a little leisurely. I don't like those mornings where I feel super rushed, like I need to jump out of bed and jump into work and really get things going. I like to have a little bit of me time in the morning. So, a little bit of time to kind of lounge in bed, a little bit of time to sit and enjoy my morning cup of tea, maybe take a walk. Right, anything that allows a little bit of time before you jump into your day. I feel like it's really valuable for all of us to have a little bit of that downtime before we just jump into it and get going. So I like a little bit of leisure in my morning.
Right. If you had to choose between skydiving, bungee jumping, or scuba diving, which one would you choose?
Well, the only one of those three I have done is bungee jumping, so I think I'm going to say that one. I have not done skydiving, and I haven't done scuba diving, although I really like to snorkel, but my ears are very sensitive, so I don't know that scuba diving would ever be in my repertoire. So I'm going to go with bungee jumping.
Okay, interesting choice.
Yeah.
What was the most beautiful place you've ever been to?
Oh, there's so many, but I think I'm going to go with Croatia. And specifically Krka National Park in Croatia. It was, there's so many beautiful places on this planet, but it was beauty, and it was unique, something I had never seen before in a way I'd never seen it. So it just stands out to me as being one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Oh yes, it sure was.
Yeah, have you been?
Oh no, I've never been there actually, but I
Yeah.
do want to go back to Croatia.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
The last time I went to Croatia, I went to Split Island.
Oh yes.
Well, actually, I went to the island of Hvar,
Mm-hmm.
a little small community
Yes.
down there.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a good beach resort, and
Yes.
it was amazing.
Yeah, I've been to Hvar. It's a summer community, and it's just a beautiful island with a beautiful little town square, and some of the views from there are just indescribable. They're so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Would you consider yourself to be an extrovert or an introvert?
Um, I mean, I would say both, but I think most people that know me would probably describe me as an extrovert, just because I'm very social. I love being around people. I love engaging in groups. I love connecting people. I love talking. So in that respect, I'd say probably more extrovert than introvert. But I definitely have that piece of me that is happy to be alone and likes to kind of be in my space and turn inward. So maybe I'm 80% extrovert, 20% introvert.
Hmm. Okay, great. What was the funniest moment you've had?
Oh, in my whole life?
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
t- that's a tough question. Funniest moment. I'm trying to think of something. Just belly laugh moments. I have a bizarro memory that comes to mind of a late night poker game with friends where everyone was just kind of losing their minds, silly, holding their stomachs, laughing and falling on the ground. But I don't even remember the specifics of it. I just remember laughing for hours and hours. But I don't know that that translates to a very good story.
I mean, yeah, just go ahead if you can.
I mean, I don't honestly remember the specifics. I just remember, I remember the particular friends involved, and I think it was one of those things where we were all just tired and delirious, and so you kind of get goofy. And I just remember everybody kind of holding their stomach because they were laughing so hard and in hysterics, and people just kind of falling over themselves laughing. But I don't know why. I don't know what
Yeah,
it was that made it so funny.
yeah, I guess it was a very funny joke then, if it was that funny. Ah, yes, that would have been great.
Yeah.
What is the best way to travel?
Do you mean like form of transportation?
Yeah, just to get around.
I really like train travel, although obviously it's quite limiting as far as where you can get on any particular train. But I find car travel, especially if you're the driver, it sort of limits you in terms of what you can do during that time and what you can experience during that time. And plane travel, especially nowadays, can be super stressful. You don't get to see much when you're on a plane. But train travel, I feel like not only is it sort of usable time when you're on a plane, but you get to see everything that's going by you and get to have that experience in a more connected way. So when it is feasible, I really do enjoy train travel.
Yeah. In fact, train travel as a whole is actually starting to progress further and further, and it's getting faster and faster. In fact,
Yeah.
there are actually some high-speed trains that are actually faster than most commercial flights, and it's really impressive.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
no, I
incredible.
definitely enjoy it. I think it's a really cool way to travel.
Oh yes, absolutely. What was the longest travel you've ever taken?
Um, it's a good question. I mean, flight wise, it'd probably be, I guess it was,
Any kind of travel?
oh, well, I've road tripped across the United States. That took several weeks. It didn't have to take several weeks. We just made a ton of stops along the way. So I guess that would be it. Road tripping from New York to San Diego, and we headed south from New York and went through South Carolina, and then went across the bottom and went through New Orleans and Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and Vegas and all of that. So it was about 2 weeks of road tripping, and a really memorable experience.
Fabulous. So, if you could host a talk show, who would you have on first as your guest?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I would probably want to pick somebody who was really interesting and engaging and a good talker. I'm thinking of maybe an author or somebody who's had a lot of experience or has a lot of knowledge. Somebody like maybe Dr. Michael Greger or Michael Pollan, author of The Omnivore's Dilemma and a few of those other books, just because they have very unique views on things. And I think that their perspective brings really good conversation and would be really engaging and dynamic. And they're probably people I just would like to talk to myself anyways. So probably somebody like that.
Okay, great. What is the most ridiculous fact you know?
These are tough questions. What is a ridiculous fact? Gosh, I'm trying to think. I always think about the fact that, when, I don't know if this is even true or not, but I heard once upon a time, and it stuck with me, that when you sneeze, the reason why you close your eyes naturally when you sneeze is because there's so much force associated with the sneeze that it could cause your eyeballs to shoot out or dislocate. And so closing your eyelids when you sneeze is a natural response to help protect your eyes. But again, I don't know if that's true. I just think it's a funny, random, ridiculous, possibly fake fact that I have tucked away in my brain somewhere.
Great. So, what types of music do you listen to?
I listen to all kinds of music, probably dependent upon my mood or what I'm doing. When I'm exercising, I generally listen to more upbeat kind of dance music, house music, things like that. When I'm working, I usually have classical music on in the background. When I'm just kind of hanging out, I tend to listen to more alternative and indie rock type music. So I'd say I'm kind of all over the place, depending upon the time, the situation, and the mood.
Great. What would be the first thing you would do if you won the lottery?
It's a good question. I would probably, well, depending upon how big that lottery is, I would probably pay off my mortgage and the mortgages of all of those I love and care about. So everybody in my world was no longer straddled with debt.
Okay. That's a very smart move you're doing there. I like that.
Yeah.
Great, yeah. So, were there any role models that you grew up? Did you have any role models growing up?
As again, it might sound a little cliche, but I would probably say my mom, just because she was an entrepreneur at a time when that was fairly uncommon for women. And she clearly modeled confidence, security, capability, strength, and independence. And I feel like those are all traits that I admired and ultimately, hopefully, took from her. So I think she was definitely my earliest role model.
Nice. And finally, one last question for the books and the histories and yada, yada, yada. Would you rather, I know you already said you know which scenes you like, but would you rather be really cold or really hot?
Oh, yeah. See, that's a no-brainer. Definitely hot.
Yeah, you do love warm climates, don't you?
Yeah, I really do. And I know being really, really hot is not pleasant either, but yeah, I am a wuss when it comes to cold. So I think I could make it a little better being really hot than being really cold.
Yeah. And that is all we have for this episode. It was great having you here, Candice, talking about your job and mostly your obsession with travel. It has been amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, it sure was. And until next time, stay tuned for more.